In the grand halls of Windsor Castle, where centuries of royal history echo through marble corridors, something extraordinary is unfolding before our very eyes. A young princess, barely 9 years old, moves through these sacred spaces with an uncanny familiarity that sends shivers down the spines of longtime palace staff. Her posture is impeccable, her mannerisms refined, and her presence commands attention in ways that seem almost impossible for someone so young. But this isn't just any child. This is Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana, and those who knew Queen Elizabeth II intimately are witnessing something that defies explanation. The way Charlotte tilts her head when listening intently, the precise manner in which she folds her hands, the subtle but unmistakable authority in her gaze. All of these traits mirror those of her great-grandmother with such startling accuracy that many believe they're seeing the late Queen's spirit living on through her youngest female descendant. What makes this phenomenon even more remarkable is that Charlotte never had the opportunity to spend extended time with Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen passed away when Charlotte was just 7 years old, leaving behind limited but precious memories between the two. Yet somehow, through genetics, family influence, or perhaps something more mystical, Charlotte has begun displaying 20 distinct characteristics that made the Queen one of the most respected monarchs in British history. This isn't a story about coincidence or wishful thinking. Royal experts, body language specialists, and those closest to the royal family have documented specific behaviours, mannerisms, and personality traits that Charlotte exhibits with stunning similarity to her great-grandmother. From her protective instincts toward younger children to her natural leadership abilities, from her love of horses to her composed demeanour under pressure, Charlotte appears to be channeling the very essence of what made Queen Elizabeth II an icon. As we delve into this fascinating connection between past and future, we'll uncover how a young princess is unconsciously carrying forward a legacy that shaped a nation for over 70 years. This is the story of how royalty truly runs in the blood, and how sometimes the most powerful inheritances aren't titles or jewels, but the intangible qualities that define true nobility. The first time royal staff noticed something extraordinary about Princess Charlotte was during a family gathering at Balmoral Castle in the summer of 2022. Charlotte, then 7 years old, was playing with her younger brother Prince Louis when he began to cry after falling from a small climbing frame. Without hesitation, Charlotte immediately took charge of the situation in a way that left onlookers stunned. She knelt beside Louis, speaking to him in calm, reassuring tones while gently checking if he was hurt. Her posture remained straight and composed even while comforting her brother, and she instinctively positioned herself between Louis and the gathering crowd of adults, creating a protective barrier. Most remarkably, she maintained eye contact with the adults present while continuing to comfort her brother, silently communicating that she had the situation under control. Lady Susan Hussey, who served as Queen Elizabeth II's lady-in-waiting for over 60 years, was present that day and later confided to close friends that watching Charlotte was like stepping back in time. The Queen had displayed identical protective instincts and natural authority even as a young child, particularly with her younger sister, Princess Margaret. Lady Hussey recalled how the Queen, at roughly the same age, had once shielded Princess Margaret from a swarm of photographers at a public event, using her small body as a barrier while maintaining perfect composure. This protective instinct represents the first of Charlotte's 20 traits that mirror her great-grandmother. Royal biographer Robert Hardman notes that both Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II possess an innate understanding that with privilege comes responsibility, especially toward those who are younger or more vulnerable. This isn't learned behavior, but seems to be embedded in their very nature. The second trait became apparent during Charlotte's first official royal engagement at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in 2022. As she walked beside her parents, Prince William and Princess Catherine, Charlotte naturally fell into the proper royal pace and posture without any apparent instruction. Her hands remained at her sides, her shoulders were squared, and she acknowledged the crowds with subtle nods that mirrored exactly how Queen Elizabeth II had conducted herself at public events for decades. Royal etiquette expert Mika Meyer observed that Charlotte's natural deportment was extraordinary for a child her age. Most children require constant reminding about posture and pace during formal events, but Charlotte seemed to intuitively understand the rhythm and requirements of royal protocol. Queen Elizabeth II had displayed this same innate understanding of royal bearing from her earliest public appearances as a princess. The third shared characteristic is their remarkable composure under pressure. During the 2022 Platinum Jubilee celebrations, when Charlotte appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the flypast, cameras captured her steady demeanour despite the overwhelming noise of military aircraft and the excitement of the massive crowd below. She stood still, hands clasped in front of her, watching the display with focused attention that never wavered. This level of composure mirrors countless moments from Queen Elizabeth II's childhood and early reign, when she demonstrated supernatural calm in challenging situations. Royal historians often reference the Queen's steady nerves during World War II air raids, when as a teenager she would calmly continue with her lessons or duties even as sirens wailed around Windsor Castle. The fourth trait they share is an exceptional ability to read social situations and respond appropriately. During the children's charity event in 2023, Charlotte was introduced to a young girl who was clearly overwhelmed by meeting a real princess. Instead of continuing with formal pleasantries, Charlotte immediately dropped to the child's eye level and began asking about the girl's favorite toys and games, instantly putting her at ease. Queen Elizabeth II was famous for this same intuitive social intelligence throughout her reign. She could instantly assess whether someone was nervous, excited, or uncomfortable in her presence, and would adjust her approach accordingly. Whether speaking to world leaders or school children, the Queen had an uncanny ability to make people feel heard and valued through small gestures and perfectly chosen words. The fifth remarkable similarity is their shared love of horses and natural equestrian ability. Charlotte began riding lessons at age 4 and immediately demonstrated exceptional balance and fearlessness around horses that surprised even experienced instructors. She approaches horses with the same calm confidence that made Queen Elizabeth II one of the finest horsewomen of her generation. Royal riding instructor Sarah Fitzpatrick, who taught both Charlotte and other royal children, notes that Charlotte has an almost mystical connection with horses that she's seen in very few riders throughout her career. The horses respond to Charlotte's presence with unusual calm, just as they did with Queen Elizabeth II. Both share the ability to communicate with horses through subtle body language and an intuitive understanding of these magnificent animals. The sixth trait is their impeccable timing in social interactions. Charlotte has been observed at various events waiting for the perfect moment to speak or act, never interrupting but always knowing precisely when to contribute to a conversation or situation. This sophisticated understanding of social rhythm typically takes years to develop, yet Charlotte displays it naturally. Queen Elizabeth II was renowned throughout her reign for her perfect timing in conversations with everyone from heads of state to ordinary citizens. She understood instinctively when to speak, when to listen, and when her presence alone was enough to provide comfort or reassurance. The seventh shared characteristic is their ability to maintain dignity while showing genuine warmth. Charlotte has mastered the delicate balance of being approachable yet maintaining appropriate boundaries for her position. She smiles warmly at public events but never becomes overly familiar or loses her composure, even when excited children or fans approach her. This balance between warmth and dignity was perhaps Queen Elizabeth II's greatest gift throughout her 70-year reign. She could make people feel special and valued while never compromising the respect due to her position. It's a skill that typically requires decades of experience to master, yet Charlotte demonstrates it instinctively. The eighth trait they share is remarkable resilience in the face of change or disappointment. When planned activities are cancelled or modified due to security concerns or weather, Charlotte adapts quickly without complaint or visible frustration. Royal protection officers have noted how easily she accepts necessary changes to her schedule, understanding that flexibility is part of royal life. Queen Elizabeth II faced countless unexpected changes and challenges throughout her reign, from political crises to family scandals to global pandemics. Her ability to adapt and maintain stability for those around her became one of her defining characteristics as a monarch. The ninth shared quality is their natural leadership abilities with peers. At school and during royal events where multiple children are present, Charlotte naturally assumes leadership roles without being pushy or demanding. She organizes games, mediates disagreements, and ensures everyone is included in activities. Teachers at Charlotte's school report that she displays mature leadership skills that help create harmony in group settings. Queen Elizabeth II showed these same leadership qualities as a young princess, particularly during her time in the Girl Guides, and later as a young mother organizing activities for her own children and their friends. The 10th remarkable similarity is their shared ability to make others feel important and valued through focused attention. When Charlotte meets people, whether children at charity events or adults during royal engagements, she gives them her complete attention, maintaining appropriate eye contact and responding thoughtfully to what they say. This ability to make individuals feel seen and heard was one of Queen Elizabeth II's most celebrated qualities throughout her reign. Despite meeting thousands of people each year, she had a remarkable gift for making each person feel like they were the most important person in the room during their brief interaction. Palace insiders who worked with Queen Elizabeth II for decades are astounded by these similarities between Charlotte and her great-grandmother. Private Secretary Sir Edward Young, who served the Queen in her final years, has privately remarked that watching Charlotte navigate royal duties feels like witnessing history repeat itself in the most extraordinary way. These 10 traits represent just half of the remarkable connections between Princess Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II. From protective instincts to natural leadership, from equestrian abilities to social intelligence, Charlotte seems to embody the very qualities that made her great-grandmother one of the most respected figures in modern history. As Charlotte continues to grow and take on more public roles, royal observers worldwide are watching with fascination to see how these inherited traits will develop and shape her future contributions to the monarchy. The foundation is clearly there, built not through instruction but through something far more mysterious and powerful, the enduring legacy of royal blood and the invisible threads that connect generations of remarkable women who have shaped the British crown. The 11th trait that connects Princess Charlotte to Queen Elizabeth II is their extraordinary ability to remain perfectly still and attentive during lengthy formal ceremonies. During the coronation of King Charles III in May 2023, Charlotte sat through the 2.5-hour service with remarkable focus and proper posture, never fidgeting or appearing bored despite being surrounded by the pageantry and complexity that would overwhelm most children her age. Royal ceremonial expert Dr. Anna Whitelock observed that Charlotte's behavior during the coronation was virtually identical to how Queen Elizabeth II had conducted herself during important state occasions as a young princess. Archive footage from the Queen's youth shows the same unwavering attention and respect for ceremony that Charlotte displayed, suggesting an inherited understanding of the sacred nature of royal ritual and tradition. What makes this trait even more remarkable is that Charlotte demonstrates this ceremonial patience not through visible effort or strain, but with apparent natural ease. She doesn't appear to be fighting boredom or forcing herself to stay still, but rather seems genuinely engaged with the proceedings around her. This mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's lifelong ability to find meaning and importance in even the most formal or repetitive royal duties. The 12th shared characteristic is their instinctive understanding of when to step forward and when to step back during public events. Charlotte has been observed naturally positioning herself appropriately in family photos and public appearances, never pushing to the front for attention, but always being present when needed. This spatial awareness and understanding of hierarchy is sophisticated beyond her years. Queen Elizabeth II demonstrated this same intuitive understanding of positioning and precedence throughout her reign. She knew exactly when to be prominent and when to allow others to take center stage, whether during state visits, family celebrations, or moments of national significance. This skill typically requires years of training and experience, yet both Charlotte and her great-grandmother seem to possess it naturally. The 13th trait they share is a remarkable ability to maintain pleasant facial expressions even during uncomfortable or challenging situations. Palace photographers have noted that Charlotte can maintain a genuine-looking smile and engaged expression even when tired, overwhelmed, or dealing with unexpected disruptions during public events. This emotional control was one of Queen Elizabeth II's most famous characteristics throughout her 70-year reign. Regardless of personal stress, family difficulties, or national crises, the Queen maintained a reassuring and composed public face that provided stability and confidence to those around her. Charlotte displays this same ability to separate her private feelings from her public duties. The 14th remarkable similarity is their shared gift for remembering important details about people they've met previously. Despite Charlotte's young age and the hundreds of people she encounters at various events, royal staff report that she often remembers specific conversations or details about individuals she's met before, even months later. Queen Elizabeth II was legendary for her memory regarding the people she met during royal engagements. She could recall personal details, previous conversations, and family circumstances of individuals she had met years earlier, often surprising them by asking about specific situations they had mentioned in passing during previous encounters. The 15th trait they share is their natural ability to gauge the mood of a room and respond accordingly. During more serious or solemn events, Charlotte automatically adjusts her demeanor to match the appropriate tone, while during celebration she allows herself to show more joy and enthusiasm. This emotional intelligence is remarkably sophisticated for her age. Queen Elizabeth II was famous for her ability to read the emotional atmosphere of any situation and respond in ways that either provided comfort during difficult times or enhanced joy during celebrations. Whether attending funerals, visiting disaster sites, or celebrating national achievements, she instinctively knew how to match her presence to the needs of the moment. The 16th shared characteristic is their remarkable patience with repetitive questions and interactions. During charity events and public appearances, Charlotte graciously answers the same questions multiple times from different people. never appearing annoyed or rushed, even when clearly hearing identical inquiries repeatedly throughout the day. This patience was one of Queen Elizabeth II's most endearing qualities during her decades of public service. She understood that while she might have answered the same question hundreds of times before, it was often the first time each individual had the opportunity to speak with her personally. Charlotte displays this same understanding and respect for the uniqueness of each person's experience. The 17th trait they share is their instinctive ability to include others and ensure no one feels left out during group activities. Whether at family gatherings or public events with other children, Charlotte naturally notices when someone is standing alone or appears uncomfortable and takes action to include them in the group. Queen Elizabeth II was renowned for her ability to notice individuals who might be feeling overlooked or uncomfortable in royal settings. She would make special efforts to speak with shy guests, include nervous visitors in conversations, and ensure that everyone in her presence felt valued and acknowledged. The 18th remarkable similarity is their shared love of learning about different cultures and traditions. Charlotte shows genuine curiosity and respect when meeting people from various backgrounds, asking thoughtful questions, and listening carefully to explanations about different customs or beliefs. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth II demonstrated deep respect for the diverse cultures within the Commonwealth and beyond. She made genuine efforts to understand different traditions, learned basic greetings in various languages, and showed sincere interest in the customs and beliefs of people she met from around the world. The 19th trait they share is their natural ability to remain calm and reassuring during unexpected or potentially frightening situations. When security protocols suddenly change or when unexpected crowds gather, Charlotte maintains her composure and often helps calm other children who might become anxious. Queen Elizabeth II faced numerous unexpected and sometimes dangerous situations throughout her reign, from security threats to natural disasters to family emergencies. Her ability to remain calm and provide reassurance to those around her became legendary, helping to stabilize countless challenging situations through her steady presence. The 20th and final shared characteristic is perhaps the most profound: their inherent understanding that their position carries both privilege and responsibility. Despite her young age, Charlotte demonstrates an awareness that her actions and words carry weight beyond those of ordinary children, and she conducts herself accordingly. This understanding of the weight of responsibility was evident in Queen Elizabeth II from her earliest days as heir to the throne. She understood that her personal desires and preferences would often need to be secondary to her duties as a future monarch, and she conducted herself throughout her life with this awareness guiding her decisions. What makes these 20 shared traits even more extraordinary is that Charlotte developed them largely without direct influence from Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen passed away when Charlotte was still very young, limiting their opportunities for extended personal interaction. Yet somehow, through genetics, family influence, or perhaps something more mysterious, Charlotte has absorbed and displays the very qualities that made her great-grandmother one of the most respected monarchs in history. Royal family insiders describe watching Charlotte as almost supernatural experience, as if Queen Elizabeth II's essence has somehow been transferred to this young princess who carries forward not just her bloodline, but her spirit. The precision with which Charlotte mirrors her great-grandmother's mannerisms, values, and approach to royal duty suggests that some aspects of royalty truly are inherited, rather than learned. These connections between Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II represent more than mere coincidence or wishful thinking on the part of royal observers. They suggest that the qualities which define true nobility, the ability to serve others, to remain composed under pressure, to treat all people with dignity and respect, and to understand the weight of responsibility that comes with privilege, can indeed be passed down through generations. As Princess Charlotte continues to grow and develop, the world watches with fascination to see how these inherited traits will evolve and shape her future role within the royal family. The foundation laid by Queen Elizabeth II clearly lives on in this remarkable young princess, ensuring that the values and qualities which define one of history's greatest monarchs will continue to influence the British royal family for generations to come. The remarkable similarities between Princess Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II extend far beyond public appearances and formal occasions. Those closest to the royal family reveal that Charlotte's private moments and personal preferences mirror her great-grandmother's in ways that seem almost impossible given their limited time together. In the privacy of Adelaide Cottage, where Charlotte lives with her family, she has developed routines and habits that echo Queen Elizabeth II's personal lifestyle in striking detail. Charlotte insists on making her own bed each morning, a practice she began around age 6 without any prompting from her parents. She folds the corners with military precision and ensures her room remains tidy throughout the day. This mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's lifelong habit of maintaining personal order, despite having staff available to handle every aspect of domestic life. The Queen was known for making her own bed during private moments and keeping her personal spaces meticulously organized. Royal valets often reported finding the Queen had already tidied areas before they arrived to clean. Charlotte has also developed an unusual attachment to routine and punctuality that exceeds what would be expected for a child her age. She becomes genuinely distressed when family schedules change unexpectedly and has been known to check clocks throughout the day to ensure activities begin and end at their designated times. Queen Elizabeth II's devotion to punctuality was legendary throughout her reign. She considered lateness to be disrespectful to others and maintained rigid schedules that allowed her to fulfill numerous daily commitments without keeping anyone waiting. This respect for other people's time was one of her most consistent characteristics across 7 decades of public service. The connection between Charlotte and animals extends beyond her love of horses, to include the same protective instincts toward all creatures that defined Queen Elizabeth II's relationship with her beloved corgis and other animals throughout her life. Charlotte has shown remarkable gentleness with family pets and farm animals, instinctively knowing how to approach them safely and calmly. During visits to various royal estates, Charlotte displays the same intuitive understanding of animal behavior that made Queen Elizabeth II famous among dog breeders and horse trainers worldwide. She reads animal moods accurately, knows when to give them space, and shows natural leadership that other animals respond to positively. Perhaps most remarkably, Charlotte has begun displaying the same subtle but unmistakable authority in family situations that Queen Elizabeth II wielded throughout her life. During family gatherings, Charlotte naturally assumes responsibility for organizing activities and ensuring everyone is included. She mediates disputes between her brothers with wisdom that seems far beyond her years. Prince William and Princess Catherine have privately expressed amazement at Charlotte's natural leadership abilities within the family structure. She doesn't dominate or demand attention, but rather creates harmony through quiet guidance and thoughtful suggestions that others naturally want to follow. Charlotte's approach to gift-giving and receiving also mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's gracious style. She always shows genuine appreciation for gifts, regardless of their size or cost, and remembers to write thank you notes without being reminded. When giving gifts, she chooses items based on the recipient's interests rather than her own preferences. This thoughtfulness in gift exchange was one of Queen Elizabeth II's most endearing personal qualities. She maintained detailed records of gifts received and given, ensuring that each person felt valued and remembered. Charlotte displays this same consideration at an age when most children focus primarily on receiving rather than giving. The way Charlotte handles praise and attention reveals another profound connection to her great-grandmother. When complimented on her appearance or behavior, Charlotte accepts recognition graciously, but immediately redirects attention to others around her or to the importance of the event itself rather than her personal role in it. Queen Elizabeth II was famous for deflecting personal praise and highlighting the contributions of others throughout her reign. She understood that her role was to serve rather than to be served, and she consistently demonstrated this through her responses to recognition and acclaim. Charlotte's relationship with technology and modern conveniences also reflects values that defined Queen Elizabeth II's approach to innovation and change. While comfortable with necessary technology, Charlotte shows preference for traditional activities like reading physical books, handwritten letters, and face-to-face conversations over digital alternatives. Despite being born into the digital age, Charlotte gravitates toward the same timeless activities that Queen Elizabeth II valued throughout her life. She enjoys puzzles, board games, and outdoor activities that encourage personal interaction and skill development rather than passive entertainment. The princess's response to media attention demonstrates sophistication that matches Queen Elizabeth II's legendary ability to maintain privacy while fulfilling public duties. Charlotte instinctively understands when cameras are present and adjusts her behavior accordingly, but she never appears to perform for attention or seem uncomfortable with observation. This natural media awareness mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's relationship with publicity throughout her reign. The Queen understood that public interest was part of her role, but she maintained clear boundaries between her public duties and private life. Charlotte displays this same understanding despite growing up in an era of unprecedented media scrutiny. Charlotte's educational approach reflects the same serious dedication to learning that characterized Queen Elizabeth II's lifelong pursuit of knowledge. Despite her royal status, Charlotte applies herself diligently to her studies and shows particular interest in history and languages, areas that fascinated her great-grandmother throughout her life. Teachers report that Charlotte approaches learning with unusual maturity and focus. She asks thoughtful questions, completes assignments thoroughly, and shows genuine curiosity about subjects beyond what is required. This mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's continued learning throughout her reign, from studying constitutional law to learning about Commonwealth nations. The princess's relationships with household staff reveal the same respect and consideration that made Queen Elizabeth II beloved by those who worked for her throughout her life. Charlotte remembers staff members' names, asks about their families, and shows genuine interest in their well-being beyond their professional duties. This personal interest in the people around her was one of Queen Elizabeth II's most remarkable qualities. Despite employing hundreds of people throughout her reign, she made efforts to know them as individuals, and often inquired about their personal lives and challenges. Charlotte's response to disappointment and setbacks demonstrates resilience that mirrors her great-grandmother's ability to maintain stability during personal and national challenges. When plans change or activities are cancelled, Charlotte accepts the situation gracefully and focuses on alternative possibilities rather than dwelling on disappointment. Queen Elizabeth II faced countless personal tragedies and national crises throughout her reign. From family scandals to terrorist attacks to global pandemics, her ability to process difficulties privately while maintaining public stability provided strength for millions of people who looked to her for reassurance during challenging times. The princess's instinctive understanding of hierarchy and protocol extends beyond formal events to casual family interactions. She naturally defers to adult authority while maintaining her own dignity, and she understands appropriate behavior for different social situations without requiring explicit instruction. This social intelligence was one of Queen Elizabeth II's greatest assets throughout her reign. She could navigate complex diplomatic situations, family dynamics, and cultural differences with grace that seemed effortless but reflected deep understanding of human nature and social structures. Perhaps most significantly, Charlotte demonstrates the same fundamental belief in service to others that motivated Queen Elizabeth II throughout her life. Despite her young age and privileged position, Charlotte consistently looks for ways to help others and contribute positively to situations rather than focusing on what she can receive or achieve for herself. This service-oriented mindset was the foundation of Queen Elizabeth II's approach to monarchy and life. She viewed her position not as a privilege to be enjoyed, but as a responsibility to be fulfilled through dedication to the well-being of others. These private characteristics and personal traits reveal that the connection between Princess Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II extends far beyond public similarities into the very core of their characters and values. The consistency with which Charlotte mirrors her great-grandmother's approach to life suggests that some aspects of nobility and royal character truly transcend individual experience and connect generations through invisible bonds of shared purpose and inherited wisdom. Within the private circles of the royal family, conversations about Princess Charlotte often carry an undercurrent of wonder that borders on the mystical. Family members, longtime staff, and close friends of the monarchy speak in hushed tones about moments when Charlotte's resemblance to Queen Elizabeth II transcends mere behavioral similarities and enters territory that seems almost supernatural. Prince William has confided to trusted friends about incidents that have left him momentarily speechless. During a private family dinner at Windsor Castle in late 2023, Charlotte was examining a photograph of Queen Elizabeth II as a young princess when she suddenly looked up and asked why the Queen looked so sad in the picture, despite the Queen's composed expression. When William examined the photograph more closely, he realized that subtle details in the Queen's posture and eyes did indeed suggest underlying sadness, something only someone with extraordinary perceptual abilities would notice. This incident reflects Charlotte's developing ability to read emotions and situations with the same remarkable depth that made Queen Elizabeth II such an effective monarch throughout her reign. The Queen could sense underlying tensions in diplomatic situations, recognize unspoken concerns among staff members, and identify emotional needs in people she met during public engagements. Princess Catherine has privately shared her amazement at Charlotte's intuitive responses to family situations that mirror how Queen Elizabeth II handled similar challenges decades earlier. When Prince Louis experienced difficulties adjusting to school, Charlotte naturally assumed a supportive role that perfectly balanced affection with encouragement, never overwhelming her younger brother, but consistently providing gentle guidance. This approach mirrors historical accounts of how Queen Elizabeth II supported Princess Margaret through various personal challenges throughout their lives. The Queen provided steady emotional support without judgment, while maintaining appropriate boundaries that respected her sister's independence and dignity. Charlotte's relationship with her grandfather, King Charles III, reveals another dimension of her connection to Queen Elizabeth II. Palace insiders report that Charlotte interacts with the king in ways that distinctly echo how his mother approached their relationship during his childhood, and adult years. Charlotte shows deep respect for his position while maintaining warm familial affection, a balance that mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's successful navigation of being both monarch and mother. The king himself has reportedly expressed private amazement at Charlotte's instinctive understanding of royal protocol and family dynamics. During official events where multiple generations of the royal family are present, Charlotte positions herself and behaves in ways that support the hierarchical structure, while never appearing stiff or overly formal. Staff members who worked with Queen Elizabeth II for decades report experiences with Charlotte that sometimes feel like encountering their former employer as a child. Head housekeeper Mrs. Angela Kelly, who served Queen Elizabeth II for over 25 years, describes moments when Charlotte's mannerisms, speech patterns, and responses to situations create uncanny echoes of the Queen's personality and approach to daily life. These similarities extend to Charlotte's preferences and habits that she couldn't have learned through direct observation. Charlotte has developed a fondness for Earl Grey tea served in fine china. She prefers to write with fountain pens when possible, and she shows particular interest in flowers and gardening activities that occupied much of Queen Elizabeth II's private time throughout her life. Charlotte's natural affinity for Commonwealth culture and history has surprised even her teachers and tutors. Without specific encouragement, she has shown genuine interest in learning about different Commonwealth nations, their traditions, and their relationships with the British monarchy. This curiosity mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's lifelong fascination with the diverse cultures and peoples within the Commonwealth. During a recent family gathering, Charlotte surprised everyone by accurately identifying flags from various Commonwealth nations and asking informed questions about their governments and customs. This knowledge couldn't have come from formal education alone, suggesting an inherited interest in the global connections that defined much of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. The princess's approach to problem-solving reveals strategic thinking abilities that echo Queen Elizabeth II's legendary skill in navigating complex political and family situations. When conflicts arise among her classmates or family members, Charlotte naturally seeks solutions that allow everyone to maintain dignity while resolving underlying issues. Teachers at Charlotte's school report that she has an unusual gift for mediation that goes beyond normal childhood social skills. She can identify the real sources of disagreements, suggest compromises that address everyone's core concerns, and help restore harmony without making anyone feel like they've lost face in the process. Charlotte's response to criticism or correction demonstrates the same graceful acceptance that characterized Queen Elizabeth II's approach to feedback throughout her reign. When adults need to redirect her behavior or when she makes mistakes, Charlotte listens carefully, acknowledges the guidance, and makes adjustments without defensiveness or resentment. This mature response to correction mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's ability to receive advice from ministers, counselors, and family members throughout her life. The Queen understood that leadership required continuous learning and adjustment, and she maintained openness to guidance while never compromising her fundamental principles or dignity. Perhaps most remarkably, Charlotte has begun displaying the same subtle but unmistakable charisma that made Queen Elizabeth II such a compelling presence throughout her life. People who meet Charlotte often report feeling drawn to her not because of her royal status, but because of an indefinable quality that makes her seem wise beyond her years and genuinely interested in their well-being. This magnetic quality isn't learned behavior or conscious performance. Charlotte appears to possess the same natural ability to make others feel valued and important that characterized Queen Elizabeth II's interactions with everyone from world leaders to ordinary citizens throughout her 70-year reign. Royal biographers and historians who study the monarchy have begun documenting these connections between Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II as historically significant phenomena. Dr. Robert Hardman notes that while royal families often share certain traits across generations, the specific and detailed similarities between Charlotte and her great-grandmother exceed normal family resemblances and suggest deeper connections to royal tradition and character. The timing of Charlotte's development of these traits has also caught the attention of those who study the monarchy. Many of her most striking similarities to Queen Elizabeth II have emerged or intensified since the Queen's death in September 22, as if Charlotte has unconsciously stepped into a role left vacant by her great-grandmother's passing. Family photographs from recent royal events reveal Charlotte naturally positioning herself in ways that echo Queen Elizabeth II's presence in similar historical images. She doesn't copy or imitate, but rather seems to intuitively understand the visual and symbolic requirements of royal representation. These positioning choices suggest an inherited understanding of how royal imagery communicates messages about stability, continuity, and family unity to the public. Queen Elizabeth II was a master of using her physical presence and positioning to convey important symbolic messages throughout her reign. Charlotte's relationship with royal tradition extends beyond behavior to include genuine reverence for the history and meaning behind royal ceremonies and customs. She asks thoughtful questions about the origins of various traditions and shows sincere interest in understanding why certain protocols exist and how they serve important purposes. This respect for tradition, balanced with curiosity about its meaning, mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's approach to royal custom throughout her reign. The Queen honoured established traditions while also understanding their purpose and occasionally adapting them when necessary to serve changing needs. The princess's emerging sense of duty and service continues to surprise those around her with its maturity and authenticity. She naturally looks for opportunities to help others and contribute positively to situations, approaching service not as obligation but as privilege and opportunity. This service-oriented mindset forms the foundation of effective monarchy and was perhaps Queen Elizabeth II's greatest legacy. Charlotte's natural development of this same perspective suggests that the essential spirit of royal service will continue through future generations. As Charlotte approaches her 10th birthday, the connections between her and Queen Elizabeth II continue to deepen and develop in ways that suggest this remarkable resemblance will only grow stronger as she matures. The foundation is clearly established for Charlotte to carry forward not just her great-grandmother's bloodline, but also her values, wisdom, and approach to royal responsibility. As Princess Charlotte approaches her 10th birthday, the royal family and those who observe the monarchy closely are witnessing something unprecedented in modern royal history. The 20 traits that connect Charlotte to Queen Elizabeth II have not only persisted, but have begun to evolve and deepen in ways that suggest this remarkable young princess is destined to play a significant role in the future of the British monarchy. Recent private family gatherings have revealed Charlotte's growing awareness of her unique position and the responsibilities that may await her. During a conversation with Prince William about family history, Charlotte demonstrated an understanding of royal succession and her potential future role that astounded everyone present. She spoke about possibly serving the Commonwealth and helping people in ways that echoed Queen Elizabeth II's own early expressions of duty and service. What makes this awareness particularly remarkable is its natural development without pressure or formal instruction. Charlotte has arrived at this understanding of royal responsibility through her own observations and instincts, much like Queen Elizabeth II did as a young princess when she realized the significance of her future role, following her father's unexpected ascension to the throne. Educational experts who work with the royal family report that Charlotte's academic progress reflects the same intellectual curiosity and dedication to learning that characterized Queen Elizabeth II throughout her life. Charlotte shows particular aptitude for languages, constitutional history, and geography subjects that directly relate to the skills needed for effective royal service. Her language abilities have progressed remarkably quickly, with Charlotte demonstrating natural facility for French and Spanish that exceeds typical childhood language acquisition. This mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's lifelong commitment to learning languages that would help her communicate effectively with people throughout the Commonwealth and beyond. Charlotte's relationship with her royal duties continues to evolve in ways that suggest growing comfort with public responsibility. During recent charity events and official engagements, she has begun taking initiative in conversations with beneficiaries and showing genuine interest in the work of various organizations, rather than simply following her parents' lead. This proactive approach to charitable engagement mirrors Queen Elizabeth II's evolution from dutiful young princess to actively involved patron of hundreds of organizations throughout her reign. Charlotte seems to understand instinctively that royal patronage means more than ceremonial appearances and requires genuine commitment to the causes she represents. The princess's influence on her younger brothers has become increasingly apparent as she matures. Charlotte naturally guides Prince George and Prince Louis in understanding appropriate behavior for various situations, while maintaining warm sibling relationships that never become authoritarian or controlling. This ability to provide guidance while preserving family harmony was one of Queen Elizabeth II's greatest achievements in managing the complex dynamics of the royal family across multiple generations. Charlotte displays the same skill in balancing authority with affection that kept the royal family unified despite numerous challenges throughout Queen Elizabeth II's reign. Charlotte's developing relationship with the press and public attention reveals sophisticated understanding of media management that typically requires years of training and experience. She has learned to acknowledge photographers and crowds warmly, while maintaining appropriate privacy boundaries and never appearing to court attention for personal gain. Queen Elizabeth II's mastery of media relations throughout her 7-decade reign provided stability and consistency that helped the monarchy adapt to changing times while preserving its essential dignity. Charlotte shows early signs of developing this same balance between accessibility and appropriate distance. The princess's charitable interests are beginning to focus on areas that particularly resonated with Queen Elizabeth II throughout her life. Charlotte has shown special concern for elderly people, children in need, and animal welfare causes that were among her great-grandmother's most passionate commitments. This alignment of charitable interests suggests that Charlotte may naturally gravitate toward continuing Queen Elizabeth II's legacy of service in specific areas, rather than simply fulfilling generic royal obligations. Her genuine emotional responses to people in need indicate authentic compassion rather than performed sympathy. Palace insiders report that Charlotte has begun asking thoughtful questions about the constitutional role of the monarchy and how royal duties serve the broader needs of the nation. Her questions demonstrate understanding that royal privilege exists to enable service rather than personal benefit, a perspective that formed the foundation of Queen Elizabeth II's approach to monarchy. These conversations reveal Charlotte's developing sense that her future responsibilities will require personal sacrifice and dedication, similar to what Queen Elizabeth II demonstrated throughout her reign. Rather than appearing intimidated by these prospects, Charlotte seems energized by the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to society. Charlotte's interactions with world leaders and dignitaries during state visits and official events have begun to attract attention from diplomatic observers who note her natural ability to make appropriate conversation and show genuine interest in different cultures and perspectives. This diplomatic skill was one of Queen Elizabeth II's greatest assets throughout her reign, helping to maintain Britain's relationships with nations around the world through personal connections that transcended political differences. Charlotte appears to possess similar abilities that could serve her well in future royal responsibilities. The princess's understanding of Commonwealth relationships has developed remarkably through exposure to various cultural events and meetings with visiting dignitaries from Commonwealth nations. She demonstrates genuine curiosity about different traditions and customs while showing appropriate respect for cultural differences. Queen Elizabeth II's commitment to the Commonwealth was perhaps her greatest passion throughout her reign, and Charlotte's natural interest in this area suggests she may inherit not only her great-grandmother's role, but also her genuine enthusiasm for maintaining these important international relationships. Charlotte's response to criticism and public scrutiny reveals emotional resilience that matches Queen Elizabeth II's legendary ability to remain composed under pressure. When negative comments or unfair comparisons appear in media coverage, Charlotte maintains her focus on positive contributions rather than becoming defensive or discouraged. This emotional strength was essential to Queen Elizabeth II's success throughout her reign, allowing her to serve effectively despite constant public scrutiny and occasional harsh criticism. Charlotte's development of similar resilience suggests she will be well equipped to handle the challenges that come with significant royal responsibilities. As Charlotte's 10th birthday approaches, royal experts and family members increasingly speak of her not just as a remarkable child who resembles her great-grandmother, but as a young person who may be destined to help guide the monarchy through its next era of evolution and service. The 20 traits that connect Charlotte to Queen Elizabeth II have evolved from simple behavioral similarities into fundamental characteristics that suggest a deep continuity between past and future. Charlotte appears to be naturally developing the wisdom, compassion, dedication, and strength that defined Queen Elizabeth II's extraordinary reign. Looking toward the future, those who know Charlotte best believe she represents the best hope for maintaining the values and traditions that made Queen Elizabeth II one of history's most respected monarchs, while adapting these qualities to serve the needs of contemporary society. The remarkable connection between these two extraordinary women, separated by nearly a century, suggests that the essential spirit of royal service transcends individual lives and connects generations through invisible bonds of shared purpose and inherited wisdom. Princess Charlotte's journey from curious child to emerging royal leader continues to unfold with each passing day. The foundation laid by Queen Elizabeth II clearly lives on in this remarkable young princess, ensuring that the qualities which defined one of history's greatest monarchs will continue to guide and inspire the British royal family for generations to come. As the world watches Charlotte's continued development, one truth has become undeniably clear. The crown's future rests in extraordinarily capable hands, guided by the wisdom and example of the past, but ready to meet the challenges and opportunities that await in the years ahead. The remarkable legacy of Queen Elizabeth II lives on not just in memory, but in the living presence of a young princess who carries that legacy forward with grace, dignity, and an inherited understanding of what it truly means to serve.